Hi and welcome to the daily reading for the 5th of September. And the 5th of September's reading is coming from Wrinkles Don't Hurt, Daily Meditations on the Joy of Aging Mindfully by Ruth Fishel, who is also the author of Time for Joy, Time for Peace, Time for Me, and Time for Hope. Sorry about that, my phone just rang. Illustrations are by Bonnie van de Kamp. September 5th starts with a quote from Leo Buscaglia. The fact that I can plant a seed and it becomes a flower, share a bit of knowledge and it becomes another's, smile at someone and receive a smile in return, are to me continual spiritual exercises. And then the reading itself is a submission from someone called Beth Davidson. Recently, on a trip to Alaska, I connected for just a few minutes with an Inuit Eskimo named Ojak. Our encounter was so brief, and yet in a few minutes that we spoke, there was a spiritual connection that spanned cultural and language differences. My meeting with Ojak made me realize that every encounter with everyone I interact with throughout every day of my life is really a spiritual experience. When I look at my life from that perspective, I am able to slow down and appreciate everyone I meet. The clerk at the grocery store, the teller at the bank, even the stranger whose eyes meet mine as we pass on the street. Now that I am retired and not in such a frenzy to constantly do, I am able to take the time to recognize these spiritual encounters. The possibilities are endless and the rewards are immeasurable. And then there's a little quote from Ruth at the bottom saying, I find such joy in making a spiritual connection with the new people I meet. And there's a little drawing from Bonnie van de Kamp here. And I guess that's the joy of meeting new people, the spiritual connection that we have with them. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not the greatest at meeting new people. It's kind of I don't know, it's polar opposites in some ways, because I was a nurse for 26 years. And when I would go on a shift after some days off, often there was nobody on the ward that I knew, patient-wise. Maybe the families had all changed when it came to pediatrics, so the children were gone. It was a whole bunch of new families that I then had to meet. So my first shift back after days off could be a little bit stressful. In the respect that I am not the best at meeting new people. And I guess I was able to pretend that it was easy for me, but it wasn't. Inside, it wasn't easy for me. And when I think about these spiritual encounters, I suppose every family that I did meet was a spiritual encounter in some way. And before I did pediatrics, it was, I worked with adults. And that first shift of often, a ward full of new adults was, it could be difficult. I didn't know their names. I'd been given a report. I knew kind of the basics. I had it scribbled down on a piece of paper. But actually going out and meeting these people, for the first time on your shift, introducing yourself, making sure everybody was okay. I guess it was a spiritual connection, but I experienced a lot of anxiety and fear. But again, I kept that inside. I'm hoping that the patients themselves and the families themselves didn't get those vibes from me, because I worked very hard at trying to make them feel like they were cared for, like they were important. And I think that's maybe what it is in all encounters, that we take each person and we try to make them feel cared for. We try to make them feel important. We try to make them feel heard, seen, loved. If we can do that for somebody, a stranger, the teller at the bank, the clerk at the grocery store, if we can make them feel like they made a difference in our day, how great a gift is that? to give someone, that they feel valued. And I think that's a really important thing in our spiritual encounters, our spiritual connections with people, is that they can make us feel valued, and we can make them feel valued. And that's a very important thing, I think, that we can all pass on to each other. But it's not easy. You know, a lot of these readings are brilliant and they make you think, but, you know, a lot of the things that they say to us are not, you know, the easiest things for a lot of us to do. But we can work towards it. We can work towards allowing these spiritual encounters to be endless rewards rather than suffering for us. My 5 minutes are up. Bye now. Bye. Namaste.